Hey everybody, this is Tanya at Create Studios. And so for tonight's Created 8, what I'm going to do is work on some pieces for a tiered tray for St. Patrick's Day. This will also be a workshop at the studio, and you can also just get the wood cutouts for $20 if you want to just do it at home. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what I've got gathered, the colors of paint that I'm going to use, and how I've got this set up. So let me adjust the camera here for a second. All right. So as you see, sorry, I don't want to make everybody seasick. As you see here, I just use painter's tape. And this is just painter's tape that I stretch out and make it, you know how you did as a kid, you'd roll it up to make it double stick tape. I just taped it to my paper so I can easily paint these letters without having to hold them in my hand. And so everything that's got a small piece to it, I've got taped down. Okay, so as you can see, we're going to make a little shamrock. We're going to make a little leprechaun. And this says, shake your chamois. Got a little rainbow, a lucky, and I'll show you all the little pieces. So let me put my camera back in its spot. Excuse me for jerking y'all all around. Okay. So I've went ahead and painted everything white before I cut it out. And then I gave it a light coat, just really light and very rough. I don't know if you can even see that there. You can kind of see the texture. I used a little of this folk art texture chalk, and it's the Whisper White. And I just wanted it to look more like old wood. You see how you can see a little of it right there? I just lightly went over it. So I did that on this sign, and this one's going to have the little frame around it. And then you also had those letters that we're going to paint also. So that's sign well, piece 1. Oops. And then we've got this piece that's what shake your chamois goes on. And I've got some of these just little shamrocks we're going to paint and just put them on there. That'll be one little piece. Let me stack these up. This one, it's got a bow in it, but this is just for a sampler, so I'm okay with that. And it kind of went off the edge of the cutter. So kind of hoping this covers, see, that even covers it, so you don't even notice it. So you got a little frame that's going to go around it, and this is what our little shamrocks are, our little leprechaun's going to go on. And as you can see, I did a rough texture on this also. You know, I've got these gigantic lights above my head, and I thought it would be a little brighter here, but you can see it pretty good. And so I've got that. And then we've got this cute little one that says March 17th. And you can really see the texture on this one. Maybe I need to get a little farther away from the camera. So you can see the little texture on that. And then this has got this cute little frame. And it's scored so that we can see where our pieces go. So when we do this in the workshop, it's very easy to find where your pieces need to go. How cute is that going to be? And then we got the other letters over here we're going to paint. And then we have this cute little lucky. And the little lucky goes on top of it. And I've got the rainbow. And I've got all the little rainbow pieces already taped down right here. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start painting some of these pieces. I've already put my paint out. So I've already told y'all I use like a little Go container with wax paper inside. You can see my stuff starting to roll around because it's got several layers of paint in there. And so I've got this yellow, and then I've got this kind of lime green, folk art citrus green. And then this is a little bit darker. This is Anita. This has got a little gray in it. It's called Basil. You can use whatever colors. These are just the colors I had on hand. Anita's Foliage. I really need to be doing this at the studio because I mostly use deco art. Excuse me. I mostly use folk art, and all my folk art is at the studio. And so I just got this hodgepodge of paint here. This is sap green. So they just gradually get darker. I have a little brown. Well, it says soft black. It looks brown when I poured it out, but it's kind of clunky. I put water in it and shook it up. I don't think I'm gonna need any, but I might just want some to darken up a color. I've got a little bit of this apple barrel antique white that I'm only going to use for the gnome's, I said leprechaun, the gnome's nose and his hands. And then I have a little bit of white. And look how poor my white looks, but you know, hey. Oh, and I also have some of this terracotta for the little gnome's beard because, you know, he's Irish. He's going to have some red beard. Okay, so let me go ahead and move some stuff around here so I can function. See, people don't see behind the scenes, and people are painting all crazy angles so that just so the camera can be in a good spot. So I'm going to turn this camera a little bit like this. Maybe let's see if I angle it down a little bit. If you only saw the thing I've got this rigged up on. Okie doke. So all this stuff over here, let me go ahead and just scoot this camera. Okay. So all this stuff right here, I'm going to paint with a sponge. So you can either use makeup sponges that you get at like the Dollar Tree. And look, these used to be, you could get these and these were good, but these are pretty crappy. They're not as dense as they used to be. So I don't know how good that's going to work. But then I also have these really groovy little sponge brushes, and they come in a set of, I think they come in a set of 10. Let's see, I've got some sitting right here in a box. They're made by Tulip, and there's 9 in a package. Sponge pouncers. I have used the same one forever. I just wash them out. So I think they're made to be disposable, but you know us crafty people, we use the same stuff over and over and over again. Okay, so we know the background is going to be white on most of these. So what I think I'm going to do is these letters here, I'm going to do probably, let's see, I'll probably use this color green and maybe a little mix of that, kind of let it marbleize within itself and not try to marbleize it, but just kind of pounce both of them at the same time and paint these letters. So let's go ahead and get that started. So I'm kind of, don't want to get that right in y'all's face. The only thing about the pouncer is that it does need a lot of paint, but you can quickly, look how quickly I can do this. It does kind of give it a little bit of a texture, which I'm fine with that. I'm right up to the edge of my cover sheet. Okay, and you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little bit of the yellow in there, and I'm just going to kind of, I think that, look, kind of give it that ombre look. That looks cute. That looks cute. Okay, so that's going on this big Happy St. Patrick's Day sign. Oh, and there's the day, so I need to paint the day. Woo! Big glob of yellow. Let's see if I can kind of blot that a little bit. I kind of made a big mess right there. There we go. Well, maybe those makeup sponges are good for something of blotting, and that's it. Okay. I like it. I like it. Cute, cute. Okay. So I paint that color. Now and I'll leave that background. I might do some striations of like a watered, like a white add white, a lot of white to this color green, and just make a couple of strokes through the background of this. But before I do that, I'm going to sponge that same color on the frame here. And if it kind of marbleizes, I'm okay with that. See how I can hold this and pounce it so you can see. How about that? You see this little yellow thing bouncing around? That is like dried paint from something else I picked it off of. I think it was probably in the palette here. So I like using these pouncers, and I like the texture it gives. It just has that more painterly look, like it's not been manufactured in a factory. It just looks hand painted. It gives it kind of a more of a fine art feel because it's looks kind of modeled. Okay, set that aside. And this 17, the March 17 on this, I think I'm going to paint this background a little bit a lighter green, maybe that like chartreusey green, and then these can be darker green. So I think I may actually I shouldn't use the same letters. I have a little bit hair lighter color green, and so I'm going to use that for these letters, the March and the 17. So just a hair lighter. It may not even really be lighter. It might just look lighter. Let's see. And it just looks lighter. I mean, it looks lighter in here. Let me add a little yellow to it, because I don't want everything to look like it's the same color. I think I like that. I could even add white in with it if I wanted to kind of add some highlights. But I do really dig that yellow. Just let that yellow kind of pop, and it looks very marbly. Let me see if I can show you. See, doesn't that look kind of marbly? Yes, that's so pretty. Okay. So I want to try to work on all the pieces that are over here, get them going. The shamrock one, I think I'm going to paint the whole background on this yellow. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see if I can clean off this. Clean this pouncer a little bit so it won't be so green. I don't want to put it in the water because it's a sponge, so it'll just soak it up. So I'm just going to pounce it off on the side here. That's what I'm doing. I'm just pouncing it off. I'm going to get as much of that green off as I can, and then I'm just going to apply the yellow. This whole background will be yellow, and it's got a little green in there, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think it looks kind of fun. Oops, I do need to put some more yellow in here because my black ran into the edge of the yellow. Now I'm sure I've gotten way too much yellow, but that's okay. I may go over this because I've got some of that. Some of the black in it. And I don't really like the shade it kind of made it. So I'll pounce some of that off. Pounce off. Wax on. Wax off. Okay, now we're looking a little bit better. So it's so hard for me to get used to, even though I've had my space, my studio for 11 years, I'm still not used to having to do different holidays so early, but they just sneak up on you. I had so many Mardi Gras classes I wanted to do, and by the time you get to February, you know, even though Mardi Gras is on the 21st, it's kind of like, do people still want to make Mardi Gras stuff? Okay, see how textured it looks? See that texture? All those little ridges? I like it. I'm leaving it. Does cover up a lot of those little incised lines. If you really have to have those incised lines, what you can do is get a, oh, what did I do with it? I've got a bunch of stuff stuck on it and lost it. Have a little bitty needle I keep. Here it is. And so if you have to see those incised lines, you can take that needle and just draw around the edge. And see that line again. Now, I'm pretty sure as this dries, it's going to start settling and things will be, you'll be able to see those lines a little bit more. So you can just do that if you need to see the lines. I just kind of need the general idea of where it goes. Probably the words down here will be the hardest part, but I am not going to stress over it. So let's set that aside to dry also. So the rainbow, how the rainbow is going to work is it's going to be 3 colors of green. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that first color yellow because those 2 sagey greens look the same to me. So I'm just going to do this bottom piece of the rainbow yellow. And then I'm going to add in this sage green color. Actually, that wasn't supposed to be that color. Did it on the wrong one. The second one is supposed to be the chartreuse color. So let me wipe that off. If you have your wood painted, like I try to paint it all before I cut it, and that makes it much easier to paint because the paint doesn't just soak right into the wood instantly. It's got a little bit of a skin to it. So I'll let that dry a little bit and then I'll paint it again. So this Lucky is going to be dark colored. This would be so fun. We'll put it together. So fun to put together. So always remember, like, you know, some holidays you just never can remember the date. I don't know. I think most people remember dates of holidays, but always remembered St. Patrick's Day really well because it was one of my aunt's birthdays and we just always remembered it. Okay, so this is going to be the dark color also, the Shake Your Chamois. This is when this sponge paint and the tape work their wonders because you can so easily paint that because this is really delicate. I already broke the word your in half, so that was easy. It took like 30 seconds to paint that. And so these shamrocks are going on, no, not on the Lucky. Where do those shamrocks go? Those shamrocks go, yeah, these 3 shamrocks right here are going to be the dark color. Just like the Shake Your Chamois. So let's go ahead and sponge these. Now, if you are a fancy artist, you could come in here and really shade these. Put shadow and highlights and everything. And if that's something you like, then you can tap the brush in a lighter color. I mean, the thing in a lighter color and just kind of, you know how shamrocks kind of have that little lighter at the end sometimes. Yes. You would think with these Sputnik lights, it always looks like it's brighter than it ends up appearing as I start painting. So I'm going to paint those little shamrocks also. Way over here. And I'm just sponging these right here. Let me get closer. Right here, I'm just using the sponge, pouncing it. Yeah. And that's the little stem for the shamrocks. And then we've got the leprechaun, or whatever he is, gnome. That's going to be white. That's going to be a lighter white. So let's paint this. It's so funny, you have a big table and then it ends up not being that big when you start moving all your stuff around. Okay, so this one I'm going to do kind of this color of these shamrocks over here. Kind of that color, where it's kind of the medium green with a little yellow in it. So, like I'm just kind of pouncing between these two right here. Actually need to put a little darker in there because I'm running out of the light color. Some of these hunks of yellow are from the paintbrushes because I just leave them sitting in water like a bad paintbrush mom. I just love this marbleized effect it gives. Love it. I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Balance it on something. Okay. So I'm now going to clean my pouncing brush. Pouncing sponge. I keep saying brush, I'm sorry. And so what I do is I just put it in the water and then I kind of roll it along the edge of the cup to kind of squeeze out because I don't want to get my hands all filthy. And you can go wash it out in the sink if you want. I'm just doing this because I'm going to be using that chartreuse green color. So it's not like I'm going to white or anything. But if I was doing a major color change, I would definitely go wash it out. So I'm going to use some of that chartreuse color, that lime green color. And I'm painting the Lucky. So the dark green is going on top of this. And if you don't like it textured, where you can see the texture in it, you can do it like this. So I'll leave that one like that. And then I'm going to pounce a little to paint this one, the chartreuse color that I messed up and painted it the wrong color earlier. We're going to pounce that. Okie dokie. Okay, so what else is this light colored green going to be? Maybe I'll do the circle around the leprechaun one or the gnome one, the frame for this. Maybe I'll do it light green. Yeah, I'll do this light green. It's such a pretty color. When I moved into the studio space, if you've been there, you know the walls are mostly yellow. My old space, I had one wall, this chartreuse green, and so it really made it pop. So I wanted to do it at this space And so that little front room at the studio, I started painting that lime green color. And I just got tired of painting. We kept having to paint and paint and paint and paint. And this is not as bright yellow as I wanted, so I am going to do it again. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to use a paintbrush because my pouncer is too contaminated now. Because I want this to be bright yellow. I'll try to keep this at an hour. And, oh, I'm not even paying attention to people coming in the room. I'm so sorry. Hey, Brenda. I'm sharing this on 2 different platforms, the YouTube and the Facebook page. So you can watch it on either spot live when we do our next ones. I probably have never even told anybody where I'm sharing it, but anyway, this is pretty good. Pretty yellow. And what I want to do is kind of, let's see, that's this color, March 7th. I might dry brush. I might do a little dry brush on here. This isn't the best paintbrush to do dry brush with, but we will see. Just to add a little texture to it. Brush is virtually dry. So I'm just adding a little bit of color to that. And for the leprechaun, or the gnome one, I'm going to do that in a little of this chartreuse color. But I want to dry brush it, so I'm going to wipe off a lot of that color. And so I'm just going to kind of look like paint's worn off and chipped. And had I had some of the chalk chartreuse, which I probably do somewhere. So you put the paint on the brush and then you wipe it off. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so that's this gnome. I'm going to need to sit in a different space in this room because it does not seem to be lit as well as I thought it would be. Okay, so now let's paint a little of the gnome. The Happy St. Patrick's Day one that's white, I'm going to leave it white. Okay, so this little gnome over here, I think his little hat, I'm going to do that little hat. What am I going to do that little hat? Dark green. How about that? And I could have easily have pounced this. But I got the brush in my hand, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Now, one thing I'll say is when you use the brush and these craft paints, you typically have to do 2 coats just because they're craft paints. If you're using like acrylic paint in a tube, you wouldn't have to do that. And that's because these are just made with less pigment, more filler and less pigment, and that's why they're a lot cheaper than acrylic paints. Even though they're acrylic, I mean, these are acrylic craft paints. What's it say on here? All-purpose acrylic, premium acrylic paint. Yeah, it's not that premium. If your paint were in a tube, then you're going to have really dense color. But that's okay. We can do 2 coats or 3 coats if we need it. So that middle part, you could get real fancy with it. You could paint it black with a gold buckle. I didn't even put out any gold paint, so I could use yellow buckle. These are his little feet, so they're going to be dark green. And I'll have to do that a couple times. And then we want, what am I looking for? The flesh tone. So I got this little baby brush. I don't even see the number on it. And I'm going to use the flesh color and paint his little nose. It's really just an antique white, so it's just got a hint of yellow in it, which is fine. These 2 little nubs down here are his hands, so they will be white or cream color also. And my finger's stuck. And now we're going to paint the beard, which I did not put any of this out. This is terracotta color. Oh, that is so cute. That is looking so cute. So we can put some shadow in this and some highlights. Oh my gosh, this little beard is so cute. So stinking cute. Somebody asked if you can just buy the kit to this. Yes, you can. It is $20. I do not have I don't have my site set up yet to take orders, but you can just message me and pick it up at the studio, or I can ship it. There will be a shipping charge if I have to mail it, but you can do that. Now I'm just adding a little of that cream color in the top, and then I'm going to just tap my brush in this darker color, and I'm just going to do a little bit around the edge. It's a little more than I want to do, so let me go back in here with some of this. Oh, that is so cute. Excuse me. Got that a little too watery right here, so let me just work it out. Oh my gosh, that's so stinking cute. Okay, so this little hat band, what am I doing with this? Maybe I'll just make it the chartreuse green. I mean, he's a leprechaun-y gnome, so he can have another green on here. I really should have cut that buckle out, and then I could have just painted a piece of wood and put on top of it. I didn't think about that. That I will have to go over a second time. So looking at all my pieces, making sure I've got all the pieces I need to have. I think I do. Everything's getting pretty dry. I may notice as we start gluing things on that I need to darken something or lighten something based on what color it's going on top of. Now, I have not put this together. This is the first. I just cut it out like about 30 minutes before I started doing this session. So if stuff needs to be touched up, just bear with me, okay? Do a second coat on the little feet right there. And a lot of times when I'm changing colors, I don't wash my brushes out. I just kind of, you know, if it gets a little the lighter color in there, I'm okay with that because I want this to be fun, and you know, it kind of adds a little depth and shadow in with your paint. See how this second coat here is a little bit lighter just because I had some of that chartreuse on my brush. But then when I come back in, see how it just kind of works itself out. Cute. Once that dries, I can paint the little buckle on his hat. I don't know if you can really see, but there is a little buckle on there. Can you tell? Anyway. Okay, so I've gotten everything painted. All the backgrounds are done. Let's see what I need to do next. Let me scoot some stuff around here. Put my glue down there. I mean my sponge in the bottle. Now this is the glue I use. I've shown this every single time I do this. It's still a little wet. Let's do this one. This one should be dry. So this is kind of glue I use. What I'm going to do for this is, let's see how that'll look. Oh, look how cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little glob of glue out because I cannot squirt any more through this, and I just almost need pliers to take this top off. It's been done so many times. There's just chunks of glue everywhere. And I will squirt it in my little palette here. And it's going to run all over the paints and stuff, so I probably shouldn't have done that, but hey. This is dry. Usually I'll use a sponge like this. This is dry, so it's okay for me to use this. And we're going to do this one. So we're going to do the March 17 first. And so I'm just going to tap into that. Got some glue on here. Take the M. And then I'm just going to pounce it. You don't want it real thick. Like, look how thick that is. I don't really need it that thick. I can kind of tap it off a little bit because it does not need to be that thick. Because the problem is when you do it that thick, sometimes it comes off the... Okay, so let's see. You want to look down where the little lines are, and that's already pretty stuck. Wood glue works great. You do not need E6000. You do not need any fancy glues. Just get you wood glue. It's made for gluing wood. This is wood. There you go. So that one little pounce almost got me 3 whole letters. Very easy to do. And it's just so much fun watching these come to life. Look at that. How sweet. Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Adorable. So, how many people go to the St. Patrick's Day Parade? I used to ride in it years ago. I'm talking about the Baton Rouge St. Patrick's Day Parade. I used to ride in it years and years ago. And it just got expensive back then. I think I just got a glob. No, that's glue. Glob of glue on there. I thought I got white paint. Just glue. Yeah, it got too expensive to ride in it for getting floats. I was in the JC's and we used to have a float, and it got really expensive. And like if you wanted to throw branded stuff. Oh, look how cute. Okay, so here is the piece that goes on top. Let's see how that's going to sit. That is cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get the glue on this. Let's get the glue on this. right. Yeah, let's see what this looks like. Yes. Okay. Excuse my head. I've got to get over it so I can see. I think that's about it. Press, 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 press. So these are just a hair darker than this. Okay, got one little piece. Those are pretty big for our, way bigger than our last tier tray. The Mardi Gras one, the pieces were teeny tiny. Okay, so I'm going to glue on the Lucky. And I'm just going to stick it down. Press. So I love wood glue. It sets up so quick. Look how cute the Lucky is. Okie dokie. So what do we got here? Let's do the rainbow. Okay. Unstick all these. Okie doke. And you don't want to glue put all the glue on them and then try to do it because the wood glue is going to sit up. So you want to go ahead and do them one at a time. Now, luckily, this wood glue does dry clear, but you still want to avoid that as much as possible. Avoid getting glue on everything. Everything but your hands. Oh, look how cute. Oh, that is so cute. Yes, yes, yes. So St. Patrick, what's his story? He chased the snakes out of Ireland, isn't that it? Or is that the Pied Piper? I get the Pied Piper chased rats out. I think St. Patrick chased the snakes out of Ireland. And to this day, they have no snakes in Ireland. I painted like a giant St. Patrick, very, medieval looking St. Patrick, very stylized, icon looking St. Patrick, and it was on the back of our Mardi Gras float. I think it's still in the back of my game room somewhere. I had it for the longest time. I don't know what I did with it. Alrighty, let's put this last one on here. That top one could have been a little bit darker, maybe a second coat, but I think it looks adorable. So cute. Okie doke. What else we got left? St. Patrick's Day. So let's do this one. This one I'm waiting on because the yellow, I did a second coat of the yellow and it's still a little wet. So we're gonna go to this. Okay, so happy St. Patrick's Day. It'd be good is to use like a sponge. You know how when they used to have for, depending on how old you are, remember how they used to have for stamps and they had that little sponge that you'd dampen? We could have one of those with just wood glue on it. If you have something tiny, you can use tweezers, but I seem to do a little bit better with just my fingers. But I think I'm going to need some more glue in a second. You just want to use wood glue. Don't really use, I mean, you just want to use painter's tape. You don't want to use anything real strong because you do have to pull your stuff off of it. Cute. Now, one thing is I don't know what happened to my period. I think I threw it away when I was cleaning out when I was picking all the pieces up out of the laser machine. I think I accidentally threw the period away, so I'll have to cut another one of those. That's why I like to do these, because I want you to see. Do it with me the first time. See how I messed stuff up, I guess. That's cute. Sometimes I find little pieces I can use for the dots. You know, I did remember to save the apostrophe, so I was looking for the apostrophe, because some things, if they're teeny tiny, like not periods, but like you know, when you dot your I or whatever, sometimes those fall through the machine because it has like a little what do they call it? Like a little grate, and sometimes things that tiny just fall in between the grate on the machine, and I have to, you know, you have to take the whole bottom tray out and shake it, and then you just get bazillions of little pieces from every cut you ever done. And so it's really, if it falls through there, I consider it gone because I can't pick that tray up and dig everything out of it. So I just make an effort to pay attention the next time and make sure I put a piece of tape over it, which is what I did. I put a piece of tape over the apostrophe. Maybe I'll just paint it green. Nobody will probably even notice it's not a three-dimensional period. See, sometimes when I have it sitting so that you can see it, I can't really see it, and I get off with my lines. You see that? See how my P, it's two, I'm not right up on the line where and now this is already set up. I can't move it, so that's just the way it's going to be. So when you're doing it, you're going to be sitting right on top of it like this and setting your stuff down. Whereas when I was doing it from side view. And I got it a little off. But you know what? Who cares? Who cares? Got my little apostrophe. The longest thing is doing individual letters, just because you have to do them one at a time. But these are so cute. And I want to start doing more of these type of little projects because I think they're just cute. These are great for like if people don't have if you don't have a large area to display stuff, if you want to do holiday stuff, you have an apartment, you know, you could just do these. If you don't have an outside to decorate, or, you know, you can decorate your kitchen, or you can put these in the bathroom, and they're easy to pack up. I mean, you could get little shoe boxes or those little photo boxes you can get at Hobby Lobby, and you could just store each holiday in one little box. So that's cute. And so our outside frame is going to be this color. So I'm just going to put some tape down on it. Glue down on it. And I've had people ask me, I haven't been able to find any of these things at dollar store. Well, I found them the last time I was there. They're cheaper than what we had. You're paying more for them. They're cheaper than what we used to could get. And I would never use this for makeup because it's like the crappiest sponge ever. It's not the same, even same texture at all. It's like something you'd wash your car with. Square it up. Push the little frame down. Cute, cute, cute. Yes, I know I lost the little period. I'm sorry about that. Okay, this one I think is dry enough. Let's go for them big shamrocks first. First, I want to figure out which one's going where because they're all not the same shamrock. So you do want to place it before you put the glue on it so you can, you don't put one with glue on the back in the wrong spot and then you get a big old glue spot. Looking good, looking good. Okay, where'd that one go? Right here. Yep. Let's set this little puppy down. Yep. Adorable, adorable. Okay, so now let's try to get this shake your chamois. These are very delicate letters. And they actually kind of broke a little because it's so delicate. But we'll do what we gotta do. Ooh. Come on. I've got so much glue on my fingers I can't let go of it. Kind of on there. Ugh. These are almost too tiny. Did get that down. Okay, shake your... Really don't want to waste all y'all's time with y'all watching me gluing these little things. Shake your booty. Is that what your chamois is, your booty? I don't know. Yeah, unless I find a solution, I'm not going to do these letters this tiny. These are too skinny. And they looked funny on the file. I bought this file for us to make. And it did look like it was a little like double. It looked odd, and I was trying to figure out what the problem was with it, but I couldn't. So I thought, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just think there's something wrong with it, but there's something wrong with it. They're too skinny. And these are cut out of MDF, which is the best thing other than acrylic for cutting out lettering and stuff, because wood kind of chars a lot, and you can like lose a lot of detail on tiny pieces, which is what looks like happened on this. And these are out of MDF, so it shouldn't have. It's not from charring. I think it like cut a double line or something. I think that's how the file was. So I need to clean this file up because I do not like these tiny little letters, and I don't want their stuff to break. If I were like pouring this in resin or something, maybe so, but cute. Let's put this S on here. The S's did kind of fall apart a little bit, but they still look like S's, so for the sake of this, they'll be fine until I fix it. Shake your chamois. Okay, let's set that aside, let it set up. Now we got one left. This one left. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it to it. We pour a little bit of glue out, and then we'll wrap this up, and then I'll share with you a picture of the finished product. Okay, so here's his little hat. And I'll come back with a paint pen later and do his buckle. That's what I'll do. That's what I will do. Get your nose. Little baby nose up in there. I do like how this one's made because everything fits right up next to each other, like a little puzzle. His little beard. Oh my gosh, that's so stinking cute. I don't know why I think this is so cute. One little foot right there. This one's still wet, so I'm going to get paint all over me, sticking him in place. See, it's still wet. Okay. Still wet. That one I may have to touch up. Oopsie. I've got so much glue on my fingertips now, I'm having a hard time. Having a hard time letting go of everything. Right. I feel like I've got an inch layer thick of glue on my finger.